Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm going back to doing single videos about comics for the time being while I'm working this shift. I go to work at 3:30 till 10 o'clock. Doing construction, so it's hard to get guests and conversations at this time period. If I do find anybody who's willing to talk early Eastern Standard Time, I will do that. But let's get back to comics. Uh, I don't want to spend an hour on each comic. YouTube kind of rewards shorter videos. So anyway, this is Eastman and Lard's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 3, first printing. This was a comic property that I despised for the longest time, and it was based on. I literally picked up the first issue in my comic shop, and I was like, "This is a cash grab. This is an insult. How dare they?" Self-righteous anger. And I refused to buy it. I refused to support it. And I had that stance until, 6, 7, 8 months ago. I refused. And Tonic Ball was just like, how could you do a YouTube channel and you've never read a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic? So I was like, all right. I went and I got the fifth printing of the first issue. That was the best I could afford. I'm still mad that I had the first printing in my hands and I said no. But anyway, that's my story. I really liked it, really liked it. Then my wife and I 2 weeks ago went to go see the original movies in the movie theater. We really liked it. So let's go through the comics. So now you know my history of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay, and I could. So here we go. Here's the inside. First letters page. Look at this. Lead figures for $3.75. All 4 turtles. I used to paint this stuff back in my days when my eyes were actually good. So we got the opening page. April O'Neil. I was surprised to find out last issue, the debut of April O'Neil, that she was not a reporter in the original series. I didn't know that. She was a scientist assistant. That's why she's wearing this like lab suit. Makes sense. A reporter could wear anything, but she's wearing a lab suit. I really like this establishing shot. I really, really enjoy the way they draw these cityscapes. So they're returning from their adventure last issue. What was his name? Stockman Bradwell created the Mousers, and the Mousers were going to destroy the city. And I liked it. They were like, why do you need to hold the city for ransom? And he's like, because I want to. Like, he was just a raving bad guy. No, no redeeming qualities. April over here, the turtles are going into the tunnel. Just dig this panel. I really like this. The figures outstretched. I really like the wavy lines. Just sets it up. I can't believe I couldn't stand these guys for so long, but now I'm looking at this and I really am impressed with all of this. The storytelling is excellent. For those of you who are watching me because I'm talking about turtles and you don't know anything about me, I've been collecting comics since 1974. I have over 58,000 comics. And this is only the third Ninja Turtles comics I ever read because, like I said, but one of my things is storytelling. And the storytelling is excellent. Storytelling is not the story. Okay, the story is the writing of the comic. The storytelling is how you tell the story. The ability of the story to make cognitive sense through moving images. And they're excellent. We got her over here. Look at her acting. We see them arriving in the tunnels. She gives the phone number. The turtles are, she leaves. They're getting home. And ta-da, the reveal, Splinter is gone. No confusion. I mean, it doesn't help that I just read this yesterday, but no confusion. You, even if you couldn't read, or if you couldn't read English, you could still figure out what's going on. That's what I mean by storytelling. All the turtles. And I didn't know this until I read the first issue. Like, of course, it's black and white, but all the turtles, the only way to tell them apart really is their weapons. I appreciated the movie that they gave them all different colored bandanas and such, but I still don't know the turtles that well that I could differ. All I know is Michelangelo uses nunchucks, and Raphael has the size, right? So what is that? Donatello. I see. I don't even know them that well, but look, We got to see what happened. What happened? They're looking for him. They find a broken mouser and blood. We know the story. Less is more, right? They didn't. They could have, if this was an old Chris Claremont X-Men comic or even a Stan Lee comic, they would have. Oh, the Mousers must have broke in here and overwhelmed poor Splinter. He must have given a good fight. No. We see the broken mouser, and the word blood. We know exactly what's going on. Excellent storytelling. Less is more. He's pissed, and we already know that Raphael is the angry one. He's got some sort of like psychological disturbance in the force, and they're all trying to calm down. I'll kill him, Raphael. Cool. Listen to me. Get a grip on yourselves. But Leonardo is the calm, cool, collected. Let's be rational. We got to find it. We got to do. Okay, so we're taking control of the situation. Let's assess. Let's figure out. Let's plan. We're ninjas. Ninjas rely on stealth, information, rational thought. Ninjas just aren't berserkers that run off. And Raphael is like, did I skip a page? Yes, I did. Okay, here's the plan. So right away, Leonardo's coming up with a plan. Michelangelo, you do this. Raphael, you're with him. Donatello, you do this. And then Raphael is like, I'm leaving. Like, doesn't matter the plan. Boom, take it off. He goes, be back in 10 minutes. He goes, he's got such a short fuse. So the rest of them, what are they doing? They know they've been compromised. They're gathering up any clues, any information to where if Splinter is even alive. And then they're getting out of Dodge. I like this. They know their limitations. They know they can't stay there. If this threat can overcome Splinter, and their rest, it's only a matter of time. Through attrition, through siege warfare, whatever, the Turtles will get defeated. So they're packing up and they're getting out of Dodge. Look at again. I love these cityscapes. I just really, really dig it. I mean, nobody told me that they were going to be drawn cityscapes this well. I've only seen this scratchy turtle stuff. It's so good. Here they are sneaking out. And one of the things that they have in their head, they're ninjas, they're sneaky, they're stealthy. Now, why didn't Splinter train them as samurais? He trained them as ninjas because they're mutants, they're turtles. And apparently, as far as I know, so far in this world, there's not too many monstrosities and walking turtles and everything. Like Splinter seems to be an anomaly. I imagine that sooner or later they're going to tell us how is a rat this big and how is a rat able to talk and everything like that. Like as of right now, he's still a mystery. So there are mutations in this world, but it doesn't seem like they're common. So they're ninjas. They're sneaky. Let's stay out of sight. Stealthy, the better. Where are we? Oh yeah. So they call it April. April's like, okay, she's writing everything down. This is what, 1985? No cell phones, writing things down manually. And she shows up with this van. And so far, this is just like the movie. Oh, we got a comment. Infinite Entertainment. Hey, I just read this one myself today. Fantastic series. Oh, cool. New person. Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for commenting. Like and subscribe. Like, subscribe, share. I'm hoping, to get new viewers with this. Man, there is some undefendable goodness in how grungy and rough that artwork is. Yeah, Old Dirty Fatty. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And it really fits the dirty, grungy Manhattan of the era. If you've been to Manhattan, this is what it looks like. Most superhero comics take place in the midtown areas where it's all skyscrapers and everything like that. But if you go all the way down south where the Trade Center is, it's all skyscrapers. Then from like 15th Street to whatever up to like 20th Street, it's all low rise. And then we get the skyscrapers, and then the rest of Manhattan is all low rise. There's like 2, maybe 3 areas of skyscrapers, but most of Manhattan is these low rise, and those are the unglamorous, tenements and apartment buildings and stuff that most of the people live in, delis and bodegas and everything. This is really capturing it. So this is like, to me, a flaw in the story, not the storytelling, is cops mistake him. The van's driving by and it fits the description of another van that's been doing robberies. When you're relying on coincidences, that's a bad sign. Otherwise, this issue is just a regrouping issue. So we have this whole midsection is this coincidence. So and it kind of made me not like the turtles. So the cops are pulling them over, and I understand they got to stay hidden. They should have planned better. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, granted they weren't doing anything wrong. It's just a coincidence that the this van fits the description of a suspect's van. So now the police are chasing him. What does she do? She steps on it. He rips the license plate off. The cops like, what's going on? You know, now they're chasing the cops through Manhattan. Do you have any idea how dangerous this is? This is low. My sympathy meter is going way low now. This is like, you guys are the good guys. You guys are the good guys, and April is chasing the cops, cutting off traffic over here. Again, driving through Manhattan. Like, look at this. These two people, who know, the cop just crashes into this guy. This guy could be a good structural worker. It could be an electrician like me, just parking out in front of his job. Now his car's wrecked. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it just, the heroes make sacrifices. You know, what they should have done was pulled over. She puts her hands up and be like, these guys just abducted me, and they're ninjas. They would have gotten away. They would have gotten away. You know, that's what they should have done. But they're giggling. You know, a cop pulls over. She sideswipes this cop, chases over here, knocks over city property, drives through Central Park. You know, and again, they're losing me as far as sympathy goes. I was totally with them. Watch out for pedestrians. You know, the cop, it's getting so bad the cop wants to shoot, but they don't. And here, this couple's just sitting there. They get chased into the water. My new dress. You know what I mean? Like, they're just a young couple out on a date. What if this guy wasn't fast? You know, it's just, you know, I'm like, I want you to get arrested. I want you to get arrested. And I'm like, how are they going to get out of this? Because the cops aren't doing anything wrong. You know, and the Ninja Turtles, they didn't do anything wrong until this. And now look at this. They're sideswiping cars, trucks, and they come, you know, now the truck, a truck pulls in front of the cops, and the cop goes right into a paint store. Are they hurt? Well, the windshield over here shows impact. So these cops now are hurt, injured, killed. I don't know. And all this awful. 3 cars wrecked. People hurt. Don't think about that. I don't think they're seriously hurt. How do you know? How do you know? And remember, they started chasing us, and we didn't do anything wrong. You're the hero here. I guess you're right. But we got to. And now what do? They pull over to the van that matches the description. 2 coincidences. You know, this is bad storytelling. What? Another van? And what do they pull in front? They lead them to the police, and now the police get the real criminals, and the turtles and April go away scot-free. These guys are going to get blamed for everything. But we know the turtles did bad stuff. It really didn't like. And now you see the cops, the SWAT team pull up, and it's like, you know, and they get away. But man, look at the art. Look at this splash page. Look at that. That is just glorious. The grunginess, you know, the it's grungy yet it's clear. I know there's a color edition of this someplace. I would like to see this page in color, but yeah, I could see why people liked it, and it's not kiddie. Like, I get a lot of crap for saying like all ages comics. So far, this is an all ages comic, meaning adults could enjoy this, kids could enjoy this. All ages, like my comic Heroic Tales is all ages. It's not kiddie comics, you know, and it's not adult comics. It's all ages. This is good. The only ding on this is this whole unnecessary police chase. I mean, that was just filler. It was filler, and it was a way to throw some action into this comic, which I understand you need action, but I think they would have been more heroic if they had jumped out, ran away, cops chased them on foot, you know, things like that. April was just like, I don't know. I don't know who it was. They jumped in my van and held me at you know, knife point, and then set up some drama that there's a cop like, no, those weren't human, and maybe set up a story where there's one, obsessed cop who's trying to find these monsters or something like that. It would have been better than two coincidences. One coincidence gets them into the adventure, and another coincidence gets them out of the adventure. It's almost like a parentheses or a clause that could just be removed from the sentence. The funny thing about Teenage Mutant Ninja to convince others that you can be successful with comics, there's just some magic involved. Yeah. This was, the stars were right, and this came out, and I think comics are better for it because of the Teenage Mutants. I totally reverse everything I've ever said about them. 10 years after this, so 2005, I knew that they were quality. I knew that they were good, but it's the sunken cost fallacy. I just stuck to my guns because I was too stubborn to admit that I was wrong, But here, look at this panel. That's so good. It's so good. Yes, and I got the funny thing. What you just said, old dirty fatty, is when I read Matt Wagner's Grendel, which not Grendel, Mage, which came out around the same time. The art. I mean, Matt Wagner now is an amazing artist, but at the time he was rough, and the coloring was rough, and the backgrounds were minimal, and it was thick lines like this, and it made me think I can make a comic. It was literally the first time I thought I could make a comic. Was Matt Wagner's Mage. I should do that. I know I did it before, but maybe I'll do it in this format. Here, the turtles going up the steps. This I really like. We forget that the turtles have been on now for 3 issues. These 3 issues happened in fast order. It's not like there's time in between issues. It's just been continued. They collapse and fall asleep. So she covers them up with blankets, and they go to sleep. And now we get Splinter's story. So we find Splinter all beat up. It was kind of shocking. Splinter's kind of, where am I? What's going on? He's all beat up and everything. And Mousers. So he remembers now. He got attacked by Mousers. He fights them all off. They, in their home. I like that they're not, even Splinter is not unbeatable. He's wounded. He's fleeing. I love this panel. He's running for the Mousers, and he's basically giving himself up for dead. He's like, I can't win. I've scratched that. I'm surrounded. He's going up, he's going down, and he's like, I can't see when I'm helpless. Well, then this is the end. Farewell. He's saying goodbye. He's making peace with the fact that he's going to die. And just like Frodo threw the ring into Mount Doom, and all the orcs stopped because Aragorn and all those guys, they were surrounded by orcs. They were going to die in that battle. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles succeeded their mission, and all the Mousers come back. April, if you remember, reprogrammed everything, and he's just like, and he collapses. Now these techs are exploring what's going on, and they find this, what they call a freak. Unbelievable. What's going on there? There's a big mouse, and it spoke. Oh, I love this. Look at that. Look at that building, the architecture, the design, everything. It's so cool. So they do surgery on Splinter. He was going to die. He was bleeding out. They save him, and he's walking around. What's going on? And this totally surprised me. We got all of these Krangs over here. I thought that was an invention of the cartoons. I didn't know that was in the comic. So I am legit excited to see what's going to happen next. I had no idea. That's really surprised me. So good job, guys. Excellent comic. Excellent. Here's a pinup. Excellent. There's the back cover. It's a wraparound cover. And there you go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #3. All right. I'm going to shut down now because I want to keep these short. I mean, if the comments were flying by, I'd address the comments, but that's that. So until next time.
Goodbye, kids.